and he said that he was going to pay it forward, right? And he was going to pay off all of their student loans.
All the graduating.
All the all the graduating folks, not the folks that was walking but actually didn't get their degree. But the class of 2019, he actually was going to pay off their student loans. What do y'all think about that? What would you pay somebody? Would you pay off anything for somebody? A car note, a bill?
Yeah, I mean, if I had it like that, definitely. I don't have it like that, so. But one day, yes, one day I will do such a thing.
Damon, would you pay off somebody's child support to be a
No,
to be a blessing to them? John, what would you pay off for somebody if they were in a bind? If you want to bless them?
Maybe like I've blessed some people like that before. Like I gave them money for like gas or for like something that's affordable for me. But if I had the money, yeah, like I would hit somebody off. You know what I would want to do? Like I've always wanted to, like, if I win the lotto, I would like secretly pay somebody's house off.
That'd be nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that would be nice.
You know?
But like giving money to bums? Hell no.
These aren't bums. We're talking about the graduating
They're
class.
probably gonna be bums.
Wow, they better not. All that money,
they
they
don't appreciate it.
You know what? They probably would have been bums if they had to pay off that student loan.
Some of these kids, I wouldn't say kids, but some of these students, they had over $100,000 in student loan debt. I know
Right.
Sally Mae is somewhere punching air right now, mad as hell.
It's like, damn it, we're not gonna make no interest off of that.
Right,
the
right.
interest, yeah.
It's Navient now. It's not Sally Mae no more. It's called Navient.
I bet like
It's what?
Navient.
Oh, see, I blocked those calls, so I don't know who the hell it is.
Because I kind of did the math on that, man. Like, if you notice, okay, what I saw was that to go to Morehouse College for 1 year, it's supposedly with room and board, tuition, it's almost about $49,000.
Wow, and that's for 1 year.
1 year.
That's crazy.
1 year, right?
How much would that be with a meal plan?
Okay,
'Cause
I'm sorry.
Right.
with a meal plan, splicing my meal plan.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And then for 4 years, it's about almost 196,000.
It's a lot.
So how many were the graduate students? It was like 400, right?
Yeah, like 400
Okay,
folks.
so if you do the math, that's about 78, $400 million.
What? 78?
Yeah,
I thought it was like
do
20
the math.
million.
Who got a calculator? It's because
Hey,
think about
listen,
it.
y'all heard
For
about my
4
math
years-
story. I ain't doing
okay.
no goddamn math on this
Because
show.
If it's right, if it's 49,000 for 1 year, and let's say for the average kid it's 4 years.
Right.
Some people probably there for more, probably 6
Yeah.
years or whatnot, right? But let's just say the average it's about 196,000 for per student.
You know what's going crazy?
It's crazy.
There's going to be a graduate right now that's going to fact check your math when they listen to this podcast, and you can find us on your social media accounts at the Soapbox Podcast. I'm laughing because I know that there's gonna be some Poindexter. They'll be like, John, it's all wrong.
We didn't all graduate from Morehouse,
Hey.
okay?
I looked at.
Hey, I'm a
I
rattler,
looked
baby.
At the stat, well, not the stats, but the tuition. It's about 40 G's, for almost 50 G's to go for 1 year.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
you said 50 G. Okay.
So think about it. What's 50 times 4? That's about what 200 grand. Well, in this case, it's
Yeah,
49,000. So not 196,000. That's per student for
Right.
4 years. Times that by 400, how much you get?
Whatever you just said.
78,400,000.
If y'all follow us on YouTube, you can see me sweating and look at John dumbfounded like I was a deer in the headlights, like he was doing that math, and I was
He's
like,
bad on math,
That's
y'all.
crazy. No, but for
Motherfuckers
real,
finna
for
go back
real.
and run that credit rate back up.
Well, I'm saying that's what he'll be donating, right?
Yeah.
Well, and he said it would be grants. So maybe not
Yeah, he's gonna
everybody
give-
will get it. Like you would have to.
he's not gonna
qualify for
give it to the actual students. He gonna pay it all because he give it to them. They're gonna see a lot of rims.
Yeah, you don't know if they're actually
Maybe like-
what
maybe
it was
some business-
intended for.
Not then.
Maybe some businesses opened and stuff.
some
like
record labels.
yeah, maybe a record label. We'll get some. Hopefully they'll do something with the wealth that they have. But if I look, man, I would be happy, but I also would be mad as hell. Like if I knew
Why?
that somebody,
Yeah.
no, but I'd be
Like,
mad
well,
because I was like,
wait a minute.
damn. I was like, if I knew that somebody's gonna pay off my student loan, I would have tricked off some more of this.
That's just you being greedy.
Student loan money. I was like, God damn.
That's being greedy. You can't be mad about that. No, for real, I think that's a very great thing that Robert's doing. He's the wealthiest African American in the country. So it's like, honestly, what are you going to do with all that money? You have so much money, so it's great that he's using it for a great cause.
Do you think that it is the responsibility of prominent African Americans or prominent celebrities to go back and use their wealth and pay it forward. Like you hear Tyler Perry will go into a Walmart and pay off everything that's on layaway at the Walmart. Drake with the God's Plan video, he's giving away his whole music video budget. Do you think that celebrities and people who are like Floyd Mayweather and stuff, those people, do you think that it's their obligation? They should be obligated to give back to people to get them out of financial debt?
As you said, I don't think it's just African Americans, but all celebrities, period. And not that I can say that they're obligated, because at the end of the day, no, you're not obligated to do
take a
shit.
check from Matthew McConaughey.
But I think that, I mean, if you're a good person, and again, you have so much money, what are you going to do with it? So that just shows your character. You're not obligated, but that just shows your character. So,
well, I mean, you think about it, like education is such an important thing, but then you got kids that are going to this school and getting out of college already in debt. So, and he's a philanthropist who already, he's richer than Oprah.
Yeah, he's
He's richer than Oprah,
wealthiest
right?
African American in the country.
So,
she was sucking her teeth like, this motherfucker here.
But that was a cool thing of it. Yeah, I think that was really smooth.
I think that's dope.
That's cool. Those kids happy as hell.
No, I'm good. I'm not giving nobody nothing.
Nothing really?
Nah.
If it worth $5 billion?
Nah, they don't appreciate it. If he was really gonna do something, he should have started a business, so the money can keep going back into the school.
They just graduated. They
Yeah,
haven't had time to start a business yet.
Oh, that money's going back to the school for sure.
But you want to know? You want to know? Robert Smith actually got some criticism on Twitter.
Of course,
because people were saying y'all praising Robert Smith for donating to the Morehouse men and paying off their student loans, but he over there married to that white woman. That's what people were literally saying. That
I feel like that's bullshit.
They were upset because they're like, y'all praising him. Obviously, you don't care about generational wealth if he's married to a white woman, and if he dies, she's gonna get that money, and it's out of the black community.
That
anyway.
Makes no sense. So
I
don't know if they have kids or not, but if they do have kids, are their kids not considered black?
No.
So is that not going back into the black community? That makes no sense.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you mean no?
Mixed kids aren't black.
Wow. Well, Damon, as a mixed kid, I will say that I'm proudly black. Thank you.
Sure, I think that's a conversation for another time.
No. I want you to have that right now.
Okay, we're gonna have it right now.
Okay,
mixed kids don't go through the same problem.
Black and beige discussion.
I'm not saying that maybe, and you're right. Maybe there is a difference. I'm not gonna say that I've been through everything that probably a full black person has been through, but I'm still black. You think if a cop looks at me, they say, look at that mixed kid. They say, no, look at that black girl.
Yeah,
that's true. Now, if she, wouldn't.
Who's more likely to get shot?
What do you mean?
Her or full-blown black girl?
Who's more likely to get shot?
Yeah.
I think that there's certain privileges that as you go through the spectrum of blackness and pigmentation that people have, and I know that's what you're talking about as we veer into that conversation. But at the end of the day, you're still black. You see what I'm saying? But also, listen, you have light-skinned black people go through things that we darker black people don't go through.
Right.
Like, for instance, they've got to go through, if you're mixed, right? And I'm not, you got to go through, in the white community, you're not black. So you don't fit in there.
Enough.
You're
not white enough.
Mm-hmm.
In the black community, you're not black enough.
Yeah.
And then if you don't speak Spanish, you're really screwed because you can't hang out with the Latinos because John's going to be like, no sé.
Yeah.
No sé.
So they go through their own plight too. So I know.
Absolutely.
But bringing it back to yeah, we can continue that conversation another day. But I
told you because y'all gonna get into it and y'all gonna try to save Robin.
No,
There's no saving Robin. Robin can save herself. Robin don't need to be saved. She's good.
But you really feel like they're not black at all?
No.
So okay, what would you consider black? Because I don't consider black just to be your pigmentation. Black is also the state of mind. You could look like Wesley Snipes and be a big ass coon to me.
But you're never gonna say he's white though.
Huh?
You're never gonna say he's white though.
He's not white, but if you're mixed, then what are you? What would you consider them? Mulatto?
Mixed. That's you.
Okay. It's not a real race.
That's not a race.
You're gonna be mulatto then.
That's not a race though.
Well, is this conversation more leaning towards now like class? Because like you would think about like the kids that go to this school aren't necessarily kids that are like from the projects. Because it costs so much to go to a school like this.
They may have gotten scholarships.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. That is true. But the majority of them. would they be more of a middle class, higher class, African American that goes to these schools?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm interested in this conversation because, all right, so do you consider, because there are some folks that don't consider,
President Obama black?
okay, you don't consider President Obama black?
No, he's black.
What is he?
Wasn't that like something
Mixed. he's mulatto, whatever you want to call him. He's not black.
So he wasn't the first black president?
No.
So we haven't had one yet?
No, not
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
So I would assume definitely then you don't consider Latinos black.
No.
Okay.
I don't think they consider themselves black either.
Some Latinos don't. They are also
Most.
white.
But we got him.
Most.
There
But
are,
we got 'em,
There
yeah.
are white Latinos
Yeah,
that consider
absolutely.
themselves white Latinos, and I've had dark skinned Latinos tell me, "Oh no, I'm white Latino."
No, but you go to some parts of Puerto Rico, and there's Puerto Ricans born and raised that are just as black as DJ.
I seen him darker than me.
Just as
Much-
am I the
much
darkest
darker
one on
than
the
that.
show?
Go to
I think I
DR,
am.
all that.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Yeah, so
You're pretty
Damon,
dark.
you might not be full black because TJ got you.
Yes, so respect my pigmentation, okay? We do not do that here. All right.
Bro, that got into an ill conversation right
No,
there.
it was, but I'm sure
This
that
was
we're
not on topic for tonight.
It really wasn't, but it was a good. But I'm
That was
glad,
a good topic, though.
I'm glad he said it because I was
Yeah.
like, when he said it, it was
Yeah.
like the record skip. Like, what? Who's
Yeah.
that?
was
We're
good.
gonna play the drums. It's challenge day.
It's going to veer off for a long
The strip away the mantle of the blackness. Is that what we're doing? Like, so if a black man, I'm interested in his philosophy. I want him to explain because when people hear this, they're gonna be like, well, what is he talking about? I want to hear more. So you're saying that if there was a black man that has sex with a white woman and they have a child, that child is not considered to be so black. Even what if they embrace the culture, all
Okay.
stuff like that, so it don't matter. They just throw it off. So all these mixed folks of black people that have done different things in history, they're not considered black.
As far as I'm concerned, no.
So they should have like a different month, like maybe January, maybe April of
Exactly.
Mulatto
They
History
can
Month.
have their mulatto month when they talk about the mulatto problems they go through.
You know,
They're not
So
gonna
what
do so far.
about, as you brought up earlier, TJ, light-skinned black people? They might not go through the same trials and tribulations as a darker black person. Are they
Facts.
still not black?
No, they're still black. Both of their parents are black.
but you're
So they're not dealing with the same problems that
But
mixed child.
but you're not thoroughly explaining your
But
position.
you're saying
is what
that
I'm
I'm-
trying to
yeah.
As a white parent,
Okay.
I don't consider you black.
But
You're
you
not
said
going
it's
through the same problems
because
as us.
you're not going through the same problems. But someone might look at me and think I'm just a full black person, but I'm just light-skinned. So what is the difference? You just said a light-skinned person that's fully black is black. So
Yeah.
we might go through the same exact issues.
No. You're not going through the same issue.
How do you know?
If you're saying a fully,
When a cop stops you, right, and they look at you, and they're looking at your pigmentation, right, they already have their racial biases, right? So when they look at you, and they stop you and they stop you on one street, they stop Robin on another street, they're not gonna look at Robin and be like, "Is your mama white?"
Exactly.
They're not gonna look at you like, "Well, you got dreads, so you you get stopped.
you don't
You
think
get
that's
stopped.
what they thinking in their head?
You get stopped by the police. You might as well just hit the record button and and hit the panic button." And I'm sorry to say that dudes that got dreads. I mean, that's how some law enforcement thinks. I know we wasn't really getting into that topic, but I'm glad that this is a healthy conversation that we can have, so that other people who are listening can have this conversation. You know, and
keep the playing field even.
far from broken. Well, this is a good topic for our listeners. When you listen to this podcast, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or
Facebook Live, YouTube.
Facebook Live, YouTube, comment below. What is defined blackness? Is it, you know, if you have a white parent and you have a black father, or if you have a black mother and a white father, does that mean you're not considered black? And let us know who you would stop in a traffic stop, whether it be Robin or Damon
and the
first.
cops can
And
tell
I'm
us which
not
one
even
they
going to
shoot.
say that because, to be real, I would think, yes, probably 8 times out of 10, Damon would get stopped before me. That's what I'm saying. I don't go through the same trial and tribulations. I'm sure I don't, as a full black person. But I don't think that does not make me black.
Well, is
Well,
that
you
a
probably-
is that a good representation of black people though? Because if you start saying that mixed people are black folks, by majority, do you think that they're gonna properly represent somebody that's a darker color?
I'm not saying I represent black folks by majority. I'm just saying I'm still black.
I'm saying, look, we got Obama. You even really? He doesn't go through the same problems as what's the other guy?
What's his
Ben
name?
Carson. He doesn't go through the same problems Ben Carson went through.
That's a whole. Hold
Carson.
on, yeah.
You could use another example.
He's
All
black.
right, well, let me ask you this: if say you are black and you're mixed with Latino, are you not considered black?
Definitely not.
In your,
I mean, according to Damon.
Like if you're, if you're black, like for instance, let's look at it. Offset is black, right? Cardi B is Trinidadian and mixed with, I think she's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I think
or
so.
Dominican, Puerto Rican.
One of the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I'll look that up right now.
Is their child? What's their child's name? Culture. Is their child black? In your estimation?
I'm gonna give him because Cardi B looks black for the most part.
But she's
Cardi B
Latino.
is like lighter than me.
You just said okay. Where did Latino come in when you just said that?
Cardi B is half Latino
Yeah,
It's
she
half
is.
what?
and half black.
All right, I'm giving it to black.
No, because the baby's
She won the racial
75%
draft.
black.
Yo, this man-
Okay.
We got more black
For
people.
shizzle.
It can't be 50-50. Gotta be as long as it's over 50%, then you
Oh, as
black.
long as it's
Oh,
over 50%.
okay, got it.
This is the way. Yeah, David just put his hand up and his thumb and just go, nah.
Yeah, she's Afro. What's considered Afro Latina.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing. I don't.
Yeah.
What is Afro Latino? I will get into that.
Something
Another.
made up. Go.
We'll get
She's
on.
mixed. She's Caribbean. Her mother was Trinidadian, and her father was Dominican
Shout out
descent.
to my Trinidadians.
So yeah,
I'm Trinidadian.
I
Both
am
my parents
too.
from Trinidad. Am I not black?
My black father is from Trinidad.
Oh, you
Trinidad.
Trinidadian too.
Yes.
Hey, she Trinidadian, man. We both Trinidadian, so she not black. I'm not black either.
Yeah, I got some Spanish.
You know what it is? You know what it is?
fine.
Damon's ancestors was over there looking at Robin's ancestors in there drinking lemonade. And he got that hate from way back when. Like, this motherfucking Robin over here cooking them chitlins and shit. We ain't getting shit over here. Hey, switching gears. Hey, that was a healthy sparring match. Speaking of sparring, we had a mother go into a school and say she wanted all the smoke with some 8th graders. KCAL 9 in I believe it's Orange County, California. There was a mother, they called her Angry Mom, but she basically set it off and was like, look, her daughter was getting bullied. She went through the proper channels with the school. She said, hey, she tried to, intervene. The school tried to talk with the bullies and stuff, and they said that the bullying got worse. So she took it upon herself and was like, yo, let me go in this classroom and set it off. And she basically let them know, hey, anybody who's 18 or up, whether it's your mama, whether it's your auntie, you can get these hands. And so my question to y'all is, how far would you go to stop bullying from your somebody in your family, whether it's your niece, your brother, your nephews, your kids? John, you ever have bullying with your daughter?
Yeah. Like we've experienced that. I definitely don't want to say nothing recorded on audio on what the extent that I would do, but
damn, John.
just, exactly.
John,
we'll leave it at that.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest
We'll
drug.
leave it at that.
Okay.
But whatchamacallit, but I can understand her frustration and her passion with it because, like, nowadays there was a part in that segment where she said that the daughter told her that if she wasn't strong enough, she would like have killed herself.
Yeah.
So that just like this is a child. So just the amount of stress that child is going through day to day going to school, that would set off any parent. So like, I definitely, I feel what she's going through, why she did what she did. She probably could have handled it a little better. Because they banned it up from the school now.
They banned her. But you think she cared? She said she went into mama bear mode.
Yeah, but now she can't. Now think about it. She's banned. She can't go to none of her kids' functions.
Who
or
said?
like that.
Who
Well,
said?
she's in 8th grade.
Oh yeah,
so
the
okay.
function. Yeah.
She's in 8th grade. She's gonna be.
Yeah, she'll be out of there.
Yeah,
She'll be gone in a
she'll be
little
out of
bit.
the
It's
school.
okay.
She'll be fine. Yeah.
They gonna ban her from the high schools too.
She go up and beat somebody's ass.
Yo,
in
what's
the
so
school.
crazy is if anybody has seen the video, like she has the teacher. Yo, the teacher is sitting in the classroom.
Yeah.
With her hands folded, and her legs crossed, like.
I bet the teacher is smiling
Yo,
down there.
the teacher was in there like, I've been wanting somebody to come and tell these motherfucking kids.
But the teacher's the one that called the upper authorities,
Like
I guess, to get her
like
out of
school
the
attendants and stuff like that,
to get her out of the
Yeah, because if you
classroom.
see, listen, I don't know if anybody's actually seen a black mom go into like full black mom rage mode, mama bear mode, But it's something. It's actually something to see. I remember the first time that I saw my mother go into rage mode. I was Boston, Massachusetts. I go to Situate High School. I was in the MECO program where they take inner city black kids and ship them up to suburban areas to get a better education because it was dangerous in inner city. Plus, the schools were just not that great, right? So yeah, I got top notch education. Shout out to Mom Dukes, but one of the bus drivers was just ill and was a white lady, and my mom came on the bus and was like, "Yo, you ain't gonna mistreat these kids, blah 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 blah." And the lady was like, "Lady, get off!" She was like, "Get off my bus, get off my bus." And started driving with my mom on the bus all the way. And our school was like 45 minutes away. Wow. So started driving around. And my mom was like, listen, if you don't let me off this bus, because she was just driving. It's like, if you don't let me off, she's like, yo, let me off this bus. I said what I had to say. Let me on the check. No, if you want to go to school, I take you to school. My mom was like, in front of all my kids, she's like, yo, lady, let me off this fucking bus. And the lady stopped, let my mom off the bus. And at that point in time, I realized my mama was real, and she would have whooped she would have whooped that lady's ass in front of all of our kids, and didn't give a damn about it. I was like, "Yo, I seen them eyes before."
It should have a backfired on
That's
you?
good.
Huh?
It ever backfired on you? I got in trouble at school, and my mom went back to go straighten them.
Mm-hmm.
And then found out that I was actually the troublemaker, and I got my ass.
Oh shit! You got in the school, in the class,
in front of everybody.
Oh shit!
You got your ass whooped?
In front of everybody.
Yo, that's actually my mom went up. Like my first job, I worked at Subway, right? And so long story short, the manager, I was like 16. The manager wanted me to cover his shift. It was this guy, who was a white guy, who was privileged. He owned the one right over off of, if you're living in Orlando, there's off of, it's in a Coe next to the Health Central, that Subway that used to be in that little plaza. And so he was like, I worked in the mall, but he wanted me to cover his shift over there. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and she's like, no, you work so much. It was during the Christmas time. I was trying to save up. She's like, no, you're going to come eat with me and my family. You're not going to work that extra shift. So I told him, the boss was like, yo, I'm not going to work. I can't work. He was like, oh, but I made plans. I don't have anybody else to cover. I'm 16, by the way. And he was like, all right, well, you made a commitment. I was like, yo, I can't work. I'm letting you know that ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Yo, so I got sick and I called out. And then he told me like, yo, I'm just going to have to let you go because you're not. This is how I got fired from my first job. He said, you're not doing things the Subway way. That's what he told me.
Subway way.
And I remember calling him. I was on the steps at my high school, and I called my mom. I was like, Ma, I got fired today. I was like, but, it's okay. I'm going to go pick up my last check on Tuesday. I was like, but, And so I went to go pick up my check on Tuesday, and then the dude who worked there, like the other kid, was like, yo, your moms came up here and cussed out. My mom is a saint now. She's a real Christian lady. But messing with her kids is on. She cussed out the manager, let him know where he can go, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, this is just one of the several stories where I told my mom, look, I got it. Don't go up there. Don't do nothing. And she stepped in. And I just think that that's what this mother did, was step in, where she's like, yo, you're bullying my daughter? Like, that's a life or death situation. When you get bullied, when kids get bullied, they take that shit to heart. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting there letting her, I think what she did was great because she sent a message to her daughter that you're not alone.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I think that's a big problem now with all that bullying stuff, because kids tend to go to now, they suffer through depression, they go through cutting, they go through all these bad outlets, right? Mm-hmm. And then they feel alone. But you bring up a very good point. Yeah, that's perfect. Now you know that your mom's got your back. You know what I'm saying? Back, she gonna throw down with you, so you need to throw down, and that's important. Yeah. Which nowadays, unfortunately, we had discussion before. Our social media, you take the bullying home with you. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got that shit on your phone. Right. So yeah, it's a very good point that you bring up.
And I think it's a little deeper too, because most people might hear this and think it's just bullying, like the kids were calling her names, which I'm sure they were, but they said that there was actually an investigation for sexual assault too. Yeah. So it's it's deep, you know what I mean? So I understand, I'm not a parent, but I can only imagine you know, you went through the right proper channels that you were supposed to. You talked to the school, you had them talk to the parents, you talked to the cops, and it just continues and continues. Like, nah, you're gonna get fed up. Because they said that after the cops got involved for the investigation, it got even worse.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they suspended. Yeah, they said that they suspended the kid that supposedly did whatever the sexual act was or whatever. But then probably the other students made it worse for her because you're a snitch.
Yeah,
Right.
You're this and that. You know, and that's terrible, man. It's a sad
Damon,
situation.
were you bullied in school?
Yeah.
How did I know?
By this guy named
how did
Vernon
I-
Jackson.
By his name what?
Vernon Jackson.
Vernon Jackson?
He's a lawyer now.
Really?
Yeah. Public defender in Jacksonville.
Tell me about. Wait, is that the same guy that has a group, a nonprofit?
Yeah, that's him. That's
Oh
the
my
big guy
God!
with the
Really?
guns, the
He
stupid guy.
bullied you in school?
Big stupid guy. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the mildest form of bullying.
Wait, didn't y'all get into it on
Yeah,
social
we,
media?
we got into it. Bad.
So you got back at your bully. Please tell us the story. Go ahead.
No, we I was actually doing a podcast with another girl, and we decided to go up to Jacksonville to confront him and talk to him about it.
About him bullying you?
Yeah, this man had an F and N there at the goddamn
An F&M, what's that?
a gun. It's
Oh,
a gun
okay.
That shoots like AK bullets.
Oh Lord.
And he kept way in front of the camera, kept talking crap. He did a whole lot of yelling. It was it wasn't a shouting match. It was just him yelling most of the time.
Wow.
So you went to ain't that some shit? You went to confront your bully, and your bully had a gun.
Yeah, he had a gun again, and I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, this guy's still a fucking bully. But you know,
Did you ever get things rectified? Like, what did he used to do to bully you?
How
How did he
it was
bully
like
you?
mild form of bullying. He'd come in like push you out the way and stuff.
Oh, he's like,
Was it just you or was it other?
Oh
kids
no,
as
it was a
well?
lot of people. It just did this to everybody. He was like huge. Like
oh,
the
so he's
biggest
just a big
That-
guy that just. bullied
That's how it
everybody.
tends to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tends to be always the smaller, you know, like I was small and skinny too, so I always had problems with the big people. You know what I'm saying? Like people that like twice the size of me, wide, brolic, tall.
Yeah, you don't
I'm like,
think much
shit,
of
man,
it
I
at the
gotta-
same time, but like I
I
said,
gotta hit
mild
this
form.
dude with a bat.
Yo, I got bullied, but it was by a girl. Like,
Sorry for laughing.
no. See, that's that toxic masculinity. See, brothers. See, I tried to share, and everybody started laughing at me.
Yeah,
Tell
sorry,
us
bro.
what's going
No,
on.
I used to walk home. I used to walk home from school in Boston, and this girl who just moved into the neighborhood, she was like tall, and she kept bullying me, kept talking shit, whatever. And I was like, yo, I'm getting sick of this shit, you know? So I went and I was like, yo, I'm tired. You know what? I'm gonna call my older brother, right? So I have an older brother.
What?
And I told my older brother, like, yo, this girl's bullying me. So my older brother was like, all right, I got you, right? Say less. My older brother confronted her. Man, my older brother got his ass whooped by that girl.
Wow.
got his ass
shit.
whooped. And it was like, yo, I don't know if y'all ever like experienced like, I wouldn't say like a hero, but like, that's your older brother. You hold him up to esteem like, yo,
not anymore.
yo, I try to beat him up and I can never do it. And I'm like, yo, I know he got her. And I'm like, and then he went with some diplomacy. She was about that
ready to
life.
throw down.
She was ready about to throw those hands. So I'm looking at him.
She's like Baby D from
So when he
Friday.
yo, it's so funny. It's like, yo, yeah, for real. So he's coming home, and we both walking, and his shirt is all ripped, and I'm like,
Oh, shit.
I'm just looking at him like, you're not a contender no
Did
more.
you even peach the
Wow.
bitch?
Nah, yo. So we have to get my cousin. Shout out to my cousin Nikki. So my cousin Nikki went and was like, "Who's that girl?" My cousin Nikki put them hands to her and was like, "Oh, for some reason, when you're in elementary school, girls have super strength."
Did she stop bullying you?
Yeah, my cousin Nikki put them hands on her. I think she moved. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her
You think
after
she
that.
liked you?
She probably did. I mean, it was a little
Tall girls.
little
man.
butterball, a little
Little
chocolate
butterball.
chocolate butterball, a little resistant. I had my crooked glasses, I had glasses that was like way bigger than my face, and my mom used to always dress me in like these silk shirts. It was hard times. Anyway, listen, yo, but that's crazy how the dude had a gun, so like all he would do is just push you out the way.
Yeah, he just bump you, say like a little shit here and there. I mean, he was doing it every.
But were you an asshole in school?
No, I was pretty quiet for the most part.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, listen, we had.
But I fought.
I don't believe it.
Right,
I don't believe it.
I was like, that is the third lie of the podcast. What about you, Robin? Were you bullied in school?
I
Were you a
was-
mean girl? Yes, Robin, were you a mean girl?
I don't think I was a mean girl.
You and the Latinos that you was comfortable with?
I don't think I was a mean girl, but no, I definitely wasn't bullied. I think I was a little less sensitive back then than I am now.
So you were less sensitive back then?
Yeah, like before, I would think that people were very sensitive, and now I try to be more cautious to, things that hurt people's feelings.
Okay, that is the fourth lie of the
I think I'm better now than I think I'm
we need to get a meter. The
Y'all
fourth
not gonna
lie
make me
of
sound-
the podcast.
It's like the movie Demolition Man, when this shit, you have been credited.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
I'm a very nice person.
You are very nice, Robin. You are
Thank
very
you.
nice, despite what anybody says.
No, yeah, she
There
is.
goes the fifth lie.
This- Fifth lie goes to TJ.
You up next, John?
As far as bullying, yeah, man. Like, shit, man. Like, I grew up in Brooklyn, bro. So, and I got bullied more here than when I lived in New York. But
What did
New
they
York,
bully you about?
well, okay, like that's why I say it's different because like when I was growing up in New York, it was completely different, bro. Like I remember like what was popular back then was like they would take your hat. Or they would try to. I used to have like a starter. Remember the starter jackets?
Yeah.
I had a starter jacket. I remember one time I'm walking to school, someone tried to take that shit from me. They didn't take it. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? Like I was small. Never. I would fucking. No, I swear, bro. They never took my my starter jacket. I remember one time I had like this Oakland A's hat, and some guys took it from me. They ran. And I couldn't chase them. I was outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Up in the puppet.
I could have walked away.
but if I was in my block, like you couldn't do that where I stayed at, because if I was in my neighborhood, you would have like all my cousins or everyone that I knew. So you couldn't do that. But if it was out of the neighborhood, then yeah, you were like free game. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we need the cartoonists.
Here it was different. Here it was like I never been called a spick when I lived in New York, but here I had, like when I moved to the South, never heard the term spick until I came down here. And then, like I said, I was getting problems with like the bigger person, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh shit, if I fight, I'm probably gonna get my ass whooped, so I had to think twice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
no one ever wanted to fight me, and I guess I was one of the people that's bigger, but I never used my size for evil,
that's good.
I never did.
Just being a big person is intimidating already.
But some people do, man. Some people, like I remember I got into altercations. I got in one time in a bad fight with a friend of my friend, and this guy was bigger than me, and I got like cut, like I started bleeding. And bro, I was ready to like slice him up.
So
Like,
you
lost.
lost.
Yeah, I lost. Listen, I've been in fights that I've won, and I've been in fights that I lost. I got no problem.
I was like, wait, cut
I
him
got
up
no
your head.
problem
I was
admitting
like,
that. I got no problem in that. But this is why I don't like violence, because I was ready to slice this motherfucker because he hit me hard and I started bleeding. So and my friend, thank God my friend was there. He stopped it. But
I was trying not to use stereotypes, but when Robin was telling her story, I was like, if she hung out with a whole bunch of Latinos, they probably all had knives. So.
Oh, wow.
Yo, they can cut. They can cut.
Yo,
Yo,
man.
that's a serious.
Yo,
That's
it's
not a
true.
stereotype.
I
That's
used
like that's a positive.
Yo, I used
There's
to
such
carry-
things as positive
Look, wait,
stereotypes.
I
John,
used to
tell
carry a
him.
razor blade in my mouth for a long time.
How did I
ago.
know that? I was gonna
Yeah,
say
carry a
that.
razor blade, because bro, people
Nothing wrong
would
with
try to rob
stereotyping.
you. Like I'm telling you, I lived it.
You
I
had a
lived
razor
the
blade in your
borough
mouth?
where that shit would happen. Yeah, man. I remember when I went to Osceola, that was the thing. Everybody had razor blades.
Damn, what the hell's
Yeah.
going on?
Osceola is
You
predominantly.
know, New York
Yeah,
don't ever
man.
have no names for their schools. They be like, what the hell's going on with
PS
PS
69?
one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
PS. I used to go to PS 282. Yeah, my
282?
Yeah, my homeboy Ian, the cat, when we went to go take
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
he went to school with me there. He went to we know each other since,
We gotta
since
put him on the
kindergarten.
podcast and be like, yo, was
Yeah,
John
he'll
really,
tell you. He'll tell you
John,
like,
John really about that life, or he was.
nah. I mean, I'm.
I
You know,
wanna know
me,
what
man, I'm a
John's
softy,
fight-
man.
fight
But
game
but
was
like
like
the
that
minute
day.
you mess with like my family and stuff like that, then it gets like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was
It
your
gets
strategy
crazy.
when the big guy fought you?
Just try to hit him as hard as I can, but he was bigger than me, so I could, I didn't get knocked out, but
Stomp him in the nuts.
he hit me. Yeah, I should have did that. He hit me pretty hard. Like I started bleeding, and I had a blade with me. So my friend was like, my boy Chris was like, "Yo, stop!" And he stopped it. He was like, and then he told the guy like to leave or whatnot. and then he was like, no, don't worry about it, let it go, whatever. And I was like, already, you know, I'm like already in that mind, like, yo.
But you're not like emotionally. You weren't like emotionally scarred like Damon, who had to confront his
I think
bully.
Listen. Every guy has like an ego, so yes, every loss,
syndrome.
yeah, it affected me.
Napoleon.
But you know,
Yo, Tupac said.
I have some wins too. You know what
Tupac
I'm saying?
said, "Yo, some buff that I roughed up way back." That's David. He talking about David's ass. Yo, Robin, did you used to have like your name in a chain?
Oh, I still do. I still rock it.
See, I knew. Yo, those were the mean girls in school.
I
You had the
I
loop
had the
chain,
earrings.
oh,
I had a
right.
ring.
Oh,
I had
Robin
the
was
bamboo
mean as fuck.
earrings, a ring, and the belt.
Speaking of Soapbox Podcast with 2X, if you have been victimized by Regina George, Robin,
Wow.
please hit up
Please call in.
Please call in. We would love to hear a
Put a
story.
Facebook
Hey,
post.
look,
Or-
you
I
gotta
was
do
not
the John Boy voice when he
mean.
called it back.
Huh?
You got to do it in the John Boy voice when he called it back.
What do you
Called
mean?
it back for the radio station job.
Oh.
Oh, like the real proper professional, like
Exactly,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
So they know it's real.
Damn. So is that why Fat Joe tried to hit you up with your
What?
intern? Was it Fat
It
Joe?
was not Fat Joe.
Damn, gotta take Fat Joe off the list. God damn it.
He's still trying to. He's still
He
trying
said
to
it's
figure
like
it out,
random
right?
people too.
Damn. All right. Speaking of, listen. All right. Bad segue, but hey, here we go. All right. So in Pinellas County, all right. Speaking of Latino, I don't want to go on Latinos.
Is it Latino? Yeah,
It's
Latino,
Latino.
right? It's okay. I mean, yeah, you got to.
Yo,
Yo, this
had a
is-
blade.
That
It
makes
was a
it even
Latino.
funnier, yo.
He had a blade.
yo, it's so funny. Okay, this woman, she's a teacher, Betty Soto,
Soto,
right?
yeah.
WFLA News Channel 8 did a report. The teacher had a suspicious backpack that she was carrying around campus, and she had guns,
A Glock 9.
Glock 9, and knives in her bag. And then
Hey, yo.
when authorities came, they was like, yo, of course they can be like, yo, what the deal? You have this, the reporters were like, yo, why do you have guns and knives in your backpack? Like, you some sort of dope girl. Like, what are you doing? She was like, ask your governor. Like, that's crazy. And I think she's referring to the governor saying that he wants to arm teachers. He wants to arm teachers in the schools. And which makes me think, was this teacher being bullied that she thought by a student that she thought that she needed to bring a gun and a knife to school?
Students.
Or students, like, and she felt like she was unsafe. But if you feel like you're that unsafe, maybe she used a sick day. Maybe you should call out of work. Like, but the fact that the
How many times are you gonna do that though?
Yeah, she's still gonna get bullied.
You're gonna be unsafe every day. How
well,
many
she
times?
needed to speak something like, don't.
She already spoke.
She came out with her backpack. You don't strap up like Rambo to go teach
Yeah,
some
she
damn
was,
kids.
she was ready for like a
She ready for
shootout,
war.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she should be coming to school like that, but it's a contradiction because yes, one minute you're saying you want teachers to come to school strapped in case of something happens, and then now you're mad that she has a gun. Which one is it?
Well, that's crazy ass Ron DeSantis, who's Governor Ron DeSantis, who decided that he wanted to have guns in the school in the Florida legislature. Those people that's trying to pass those bills, which they did, and it's actually a program that gives the teachers the training and the options to do it. But all that's gonna do is, like, teaching is such a tough job. They go through so much. Shout out to all the teachers.
Yeah.
If you're an educator, it is a thankless job. You work long hours, and I know firsthand knowledge, they pay for their own supplies. Like that, there's no budget that comes in where teachers are paying for their supplies. And remember when we all grew up and we saw the teachers decorating their classrooms? I didn't know that that's coming out of teachers' money. So
Yeah.
teachers work long hours. It's thankless. And some of us who got bad kids, they go there and they're basically raising your child and disciplining them when they only get paid to actually teach them.
And they're underpaid at that.
And they're underpaid at that. Correct.
Now
You're right.
they're being responsible to keep a weapon in the classroom
Right.
where someone can grab it. I mean, I think that's so stupid. What the hell is the resource officer there for? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you paying this guy this person to be there, enforce the law. You know what I mean? So if something happens where you got a gun situation, they need to be the ones to jump into action, not the teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
But
If something like that
Makes
broke out,
sense.
if somebody was starting to shoot up this place where we at now, would you be more more safer with the security guard with the gun, or if you had the gun?
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point. Like, but this is where the thing gets different. If we were in here, right, it's where there's there's no kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I jump into action, there probably gonna be less casualty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I go in the situation where I gotta shoot back or something like that,
Right.
where versus I'm in a chaotic place because there is shooting going on, and now I have like 20 or 30 students scared, running all over the place, or being they're probably more likely to have more injuries, fatalities, because now you got a teacher who's fucking nervous.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
Fuck
saying?
them damn kids, nigga. I'm trying to
No,
live.
yeah, but still, man.
But
No,
you're not
kids are
being
innocent, man.
Like
Yeah,
you said,
exactly.
you're being
I'm
paid to be
innocent.
a teacher, not to be
Yeah.
a freaking
Yeah.
bodyguard
A
on
cop.
top of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Teachers actually have to do
Exactly.
shooter drills now, like
That's
with
crazy.
the kids. Like it's crazy. Like they
It's
have
not
to-
even funny
they
though.
gotta
Like this
hide-
is
they
for
got-
real.
Yo,
This
they gotta
is what it
hide.
is.
Like kindergartners gotta hide in spaces where they can't be seen. Shut off all the lights.
Yeah.
Lock all the doors. Like they have active shooter drills
Yeah.
that kids have to actually go through nowadays because things are getting crazy
Yeah.
out here for the
I've
kids.
been through those trainings. Like I've been through I did training where we had to go into a building and we do a sweep,
Yeah.
and like that shit is adrenaline filling because you don't know what's gonna happen, and like in some of my drills, like I killed someone innocent because you don't know
Right.
when they come out. You gotta be like
You gotta
ready,
be. Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what
You
I'm
gotta be
saying?
ready. Yeah, yeah.
And that was just through a drill.
That's just a drill.
So imagine
In
real
real
life.
life, you're not gonna know how to react.
What's the
man.
procedure when there's a gun in your face?
Set it
Yo,
off.
If
Fuck
no,
about
no,
this shit.
if
You
they
be
got a
saying
gun,
this shit sounds good right now.
if they
When
got a gun in my face and I have a weapon, and they got it on me, I'm gonna give them whatever they want.
I would
Because
take bullet.
can't-
I would take a
I'm
bullet
not-
for the
I'm not
kids.
quick draw McGraw, but
I would.
But if the opportunity was correct, then yeah, maybe you can pull out. But you still risk. You know what I mean? So
But I don't have no
Sir?
cameras in there. I'm jumping out the window.
There's cameras all through. There's cameras. So wait, if you were a teacher, see that's why we can't have everybody be teachers. You would jump out the window and leave.
it's like
Kids.
the
This
kid.
guy.
And
man.
like you said, I mean, I'm gonna say majority of the time, if you're a teacher, because of all the negatives that we said, there's some part of you that really do this for the love of the students and the
Yeah,
education.
yeah.
I think
So
all of
you're
them have
going,
to.
so you're going to do what you can for these kids.
Yeah.
One thing I found interesting that in the actual news clip, one of the parents they were speaking to was saying, "Oh, well, maybe we should have these teachers go through metal detectors or be checked when they come to school every day. Why don't we have the students do the same?
Yeah.
If every school just invested the money to get metal detectors that they're doing to have these teachers do drills, I think that there would be a lot less shootings going
Yeah.
on in schools.
But we have,
Money well spent.
but that's the thing about this. Well, there's something called the school to prison pipeline, and if we can't, I don't want my child who's in kindergarten through 5th grade to have to go through a metal detector because they think that they're bringing some type of a weapon or whatever.
But it
because
happens,
it's just,
though.
It's that school, but these are still kids. Like we have to. I think in this day and age, we're so. We want to be ready for things and we want to be prepared, but we're taking away children's innocence. We're trying to shove things down their throat way too early when it comes to things and societal norms that we want to push on them or different agendas. Like we're taking away kids' innocence, and where now they have to worry about somebody shooting them or being a suspect themselves.
Themselves, yeah. But
why do
it
I got to go through?
happens.
But the thing is, up north. In a lot of predominantly African American schools, they already going through metal detectors.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have to do it in one, why not across the board? And I agree. I think it does take away from innocence, and you don't want your kids to have to experience that. But yes, if they're doing that at urban schools, they don't have these issues.
Yeah.
So why don't we do it at these schools that have these issues? Maybe they would have less issues.
Because there's a lot of kids that find their parents' gun, they take it to school to show their friends, and that's like that can accidentally. Can happen a tragedy, you know
And
what I'm
those
saying?
parents should be prosecuted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the point is that you can avoid that type of tragedy by having the metal detector because they're gonna go into the school. They're gonna find it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's you gotta kind of weigh it out. Like, okay, yeah, you may be taking a little bit away from them from their innocence, but at the same time you're protecting everyone.
If you got to think about it, if you close your eyes and you think, okay, when you're in the hallways, you got to be quiet. You got to stand on the blue line. You got to walk in a straight line. Don't veer out of that. Don't veer off of that line. You got to stay in a straight line. Don't say nothing. Be quiet. Now you got to go through a metal detector. Like, it's prison.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel what you're saying.
It's prison. It's just setting these kids up for the matriculation or the prison, especially if the education is bad.
For it.
Yeah, if the education is bad, they're already behind. So now they're like, okay, I'm already going to be, feel like I'm going to be a criminal or anything like that. So I just think that we're taking away kids' innocence. This lady is clearly wilding. I don't say she has mental health because she seems like, by her comment, that's an admission of, oh, you knew exactly what the hell you were doing.
Yeah.
So you're just an idiot. They were like, what's so crazy about it is the lady in the report for WFLA, she said, well, I never thought that this would happen. Was to happen here, and I don't know if this is a predominantly white district or whatever, but that's the same type of shit they said in Columbine. Like, people, for some reason, people always think that it can't happen in their community because what? You're affluent, you're privileged or whatever. So people need to get off of that because most of the shooters that are in these schools don't look like any of us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's very true.
She was being a rebel.
Who?
The teacher.
Yeah, she said, ask your governor.
Yeah, it sounds like she's
No,
being a rebel.
not
Well,
her
she's
comment. I was
trying
talking
to-
about the lady who was being interviewed, the white lady who was like,
Okay.
who was like, I just didn't think it would happen to me. No, her saying ask your governor is an admission that you're fully aware that the governor wants you to be armed when you're in schools, but she was not being armed to protect people from coming in. There's no report of a threat of somebody potentially coming into a school in Pinellas County. And that was just her deciding to do it. And if she's that paranoid, and then we say the same thing to law enforcement.
That's what we
If
saying.
you're
We're not
that,
saying it's paranoid. We're saying that she's taking a stand.
nah, if
how
that's
would you
her.
know it was a gun in her book bag and a knife? She wanted you to know that it was there.
But that's the thing.
No,
like,
they
like,
stopped her because the principal was like, "Hey, weird lady with the big ass backpack
Yeah.
in a Rambo backpack, can you come here with those?"
I wish we could actually see the backpack because I am interested to see, what it looked like for them to really stop and open the book bag because I feel they say that she took it with her everywhere. Okay, well, if you're a woman and you have your purse, you take it with you everywhere. You're not going to leave it and you're going in this
Teachers
next
leave their
room.
purses
So
in the
maybe
school.
that's, I mean, I want to leave my purse. You know what I mean? So maybe that was her form of a purse. So I would like to actually see the book bag to see what it looked like, to see how suspicious it really looked.
For them to say,
For them to do
stop
that, right.
and look
Because
at it.
I'm curious.
Well,
what
here's
made
the
them do
shocker.
that.
They said that she may not be returning.
I
think she
Really?
lo-
But you
I
know
think she
what?
lost her job.
Here's gonna be the biggest shocker is when next year they tell teachers they better come carrying to school.
That's crazy, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but here's
I'm not saying that's gonna. I'm just saying they're more likely to
Well,
than
okay,
not.
so like
And that's fucked up that she got fired for that.
what I would want to know is how. Let's say if they start arming teachers more regularly,
Yeah.
right? Like, how many guns are going to be on the campus? Who's in charge of it?
Well, I think it's
Why?
a
You know what I mean? Like, what kind of pistol you're going to have? You know,
Well, that was
where you're
nice
going to have
move.
ammunition? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because those are all factors that you got to like look in. Because some kid finds it,
yeah.
you know, they're going to regret it.
And I think that it's a bad idea. When I heard about it, I think that's a bad. I also think cops being able to stop you for texting is a bad idea. I am anti anything that's going to get more law enforcement or more or people of color, black folks, being subjugated or oppressed. Like, we're not going to hear of, if there's an accidental shooting where there's a teacher shooting a student. There was actually one in Georgia. Like, it's going to be a young black kid being shot. We already got to be worried about being shot by police out in the streets, being subjugated. And you alluded to the plight of black folks, what we got to deal with in our own communities every single day. Now we got to worry about if I raise my hand the wrong way, if I tap my teacher to ask her a question and she's jittery like this teacher, is she going to turn around and say, Jamal, I felt threatened for my life because Jamal snuck up behind me and I didn't know it was him. I thought it was a shooter, or I didn't like. There's a lot of teachers, and we cannot negate
Jamal
the fact.
grabbed her ass.
Yeah, exactly. We can't. What the hell?
Emmett Till.
Yeah, like we can't. Exactly. The lady in New York who accused that little black kid of touching their ass, and then they went to the cameras and said, "Oh, he didn't actually do anything." But they don't arrest those type of folks. So I'm very concerned about our youth in these schools, making it the school to prison pipeline, but also making sure that they're not being subjugated or harmed. Because we can't negate the fact there are some suspected white supremacists that are actually teaching. So if you have these views, right? If you have these views and then you have a gun on you and you're armed, and then you have this young black person who's not a threat to you now, but you look at him as a full-grown person. Similar to the story of Jungle Book, where you had Shere Khan and you have Mowgli. He didn't kill Mowgli. He didn't want to kill Mowgli because of who Mowgli was right then and there. He knew who Mowgli was going to be when he grew up. And so a lot of these people, these suspected white supremacists, or these people that have this ideology of or practice this religion of white supremacy, they look at young black children as a threat. That's why you see young black kids being stopped by police and having plastic bags over their heads when they're being arrested. You don't see these type of stories with white children. That's the problem, and I think our schools need to, be somewhat of as much of a safe haven for our children to learn and get an education as they possibly can.
Or mixed kids.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point, man.
Yeah.
You got a point because teachers have a stressful job, so they may snap or just pull it out to scare them.
Yeah.
And some bullshit happens where it accidentally goes off. Yeah, I mean, schools are gonna regret it.
Yeah. So
they're gonna regret it.
But for those who are listening, you can follow us on all your social media social media outlets. Soapbox Podcast with 2X. That's Soapbox Podcast. And speaking of, we talked about kids being in danger and stuff like that. We had some kids that were arrested right here locally in Orlando at Wakava High School. It was a senior prank that of the class of 2019. They did a senior prank where we had they did graffiti, baby oil, spray, all sorts of stuff all throughout the school. There were some students that were arrested, but now in Wakaiva High School, 140 students are now not going to, they have been punished. They're not going to walk for their high school graduation because the school says that they have $20,000 in damages. So my question to y'all is, do you think that this punishment was excessive for those students that were caught vandalizing? Well, some students were arrested. Others said they weren't there, but the students of all, 140 kids, do you think that they should not walk for graduation?
Oh, man, that's a... if you ask me, well, I saw the graffiti. That shit was kind of fucked up. It didn't look good.
John saw it was like,
I'm a
oh,
tagger
come on.
by
He was
nature.
Like,
but
yeah, John was like, you should have just did it a lot better than that. I'm not. John tried to degrade the shit.
It wouldn't look like, no, because you want to know why? Because it wouldn't look like vandalism. It would look like they put time and effort to do the prank. Yeah. So it looked like literally like vandalism. Like they just fucked it up to fuck it up. Yeah. But if some students got arrested, then they got more problems to deal with versus them not walking. You know what I mean? So you should let them walk. But if that's the course of action the school decided to take. You know what I mean? So,
Robin.
I agree. I think the students were saying that they actually had permission from faculty and administrators to do this.
Point. Yeah.
Which honestly I kind of find hard to believe, to be quite honest.
I don't.
Really? Especially I think the biggest thing is the spray painting.
Yeah,
maybe,
that was dumb.
Like, throwing
if you were spray painted, your ass need to sit down somewhere. That was dumb.
Maybe throwing stuff in the hallway, making a mess. But the spray painting, I really find it hard to believe that an administrator was like, yeah, go ahead.
Do you know why? Because here's the thing. In that same report, not to cut you off, they did say an administrator told them, or teachers or whatever told them that they can do it, just don't do anything permanent. Now, that sounds like some teacher instruction. So I think that they knew. But some of these dumbasses, if that's what you are, you got to learn. So
they went overboard. So, yes, they did say that 8 students were arrested. I would hope that I would think, honestly, the ones who did the permanent damage need to face some kind of what am I trying to say?
Consequence.
Yeah. But yes, 140 students not being able to walk, I think that is a little excessive because I want you to really be able to pinpoint every single student out of that 140 and let me know exactly what they did. Mm-hmm. You can't. I highly doubt that you can do that. And like one kid was saying, I wasn't even at school that day.
Oh, shit,
so how are you right?
I'll be
so
mad as
that
hell.
I would think that they really need to show evidence of every single student who they're not letting walk. And if they're not, if I was a parent, I would have a big problem with that.
You be angry mom going
I would
in
be
there?
an angry mom. Yeah, absolutely. Because you need to show me what my kid did.
Well, maybe you could talk to Betty Soto and have some guns and
Pull
some
out
knives.
the
Guns- Yo, isn't that something like that's like
Get
some
the strap.
a scene from Friday? Is like how you not walk on your day off? Like you was out, you were not in school. Damon, what do you
How
think?
got fired on
Yeah, how
the
you
day
get
off.
fired? Yeah, Damon, what do you think?
You know what I think?
Punishment fit the crime.
Yeah, I think so.
Damn,
I think they did what Kevin Hart did when his mom told him to go tell his teacher to shut the hell up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he went in there and said, "You a long titty, no nipple having ass."
They
bitch."
took it an extra mile.
Yeah, they just went and kept going too damn far with it. And now they shouldn't walk because if they went to jail, it'd have been even worse.
Well, some of them did, right? Like some. Of
Yeah,
them
no,
did.
some
Eight
of them-
students were arrested.
Some of them did, but here's my thing. Okay, when I watched the video, I broke it down. I said, okay. It also said that these students had a chat, right? They
That's
said they had a group chat, or there was a chat on
that-
Snapchat or whatever.
Plot thickens.
All
yes.
right, so they had a Snapchat. So we all know high school kids can't hold water when it comes to talking about pranks. So and they're also saying that the people
Shit was
knew
all
about it.
online.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me 100 at your high school, 140 of your students were plotting or involved in something, and like Martin said, don't nobody know nothing?
Right.
Don't nobody, come on now, Cole, Gina, Tommy, Pam, nobody know nothing? Nah, man, I think that the administrators did know something, and because they said they couldn't find any substantiated claims with evidence, which basically is what they're saying is it's he said, she said, nothing in writing, nothing in text. So the teachers are basically like, hey, that's them. I'm not, it has nothing to do with us. Also, the fact that the
Used to bring
principal
a
said,
Glock 9mm
the fact that the
handgun.
principal said, oh, the students that may not walk, let's see, he said may not walk, can pick up their diplomas next week. So which makes me believe what you guys are saying. There were some that said, hey, we can go do this senior prank and stuff. Everybody knows, administrators knows about, they know every year there's going to be a senior prank, and some teachers are in on it. There are some in that class that took it way overboard with the spray painting and stuff like that. But I have a couple things. I think taking someone's graduation away when you walk has to be the most egregious penalty because you're not just penalizing the student.
Yeah.
You had one guy who was one student. His name was James Sully, and he was 19, and that's another reason why we gotta talk to James. I want to hear James' story why he's 19 and in high school, but we'll say that for another day. But when you're taking that away from grandma. You think that's the culmination. Graduation, high school graduation is the culmination of all your hard work, your dedication. And yes, we want to teach students about accountability. Yes, we want to teach them about, about choices, good choice, bad choice. But to take something away from them that's going to last a lifetime, like when they have children and their children go to high school, they will have to tell I didn't get to go to my. That's almost like you're giving them a life sentence for a decision.
Well, that's real life.
But it's $20,000. First of all, I know y'all got insurance, right? And the fact is, there's some culpability with the adults, and I hate the fact that when students make these type of decisions, that the adults wipe their hands clean. That like there's no culpability with them. Like you have to know something. That you have 104. That what kind of a high school should be embarrassed that 140 of their students aren't going to walk for graduation?
Yeah.
That's the most. That's
a
the
lot,
largest number of students
Yeah.
that I've ever heard at a graduation that's not walking.
Yeah.
So what type of influence? Clearly, you didn't do your job as an administration or staff because what type of influence that you have that 140 students made the same exact decision in high school. And these are supposed to be seniors graduating, going into the real world. Now, instead of making a good choice, now they have arrest records. Now they've been, suspended or whatever. And that all goes in when they file for college applications, they got to put that. Have you ever been arrested before? Yeah. And at what college is going to accept these kids knowing that, oh, yeah, I did get arrested before and it was arrested for vandalism of an institution? They're not going to let them in. So I think the school has some culpability. Give them community service.
Make
Yeah,
them
that's a
clean
great
it up.
idea.
Give them community
That's a great
service.
idea.
Give them some type of, labor. Have them clean it up. Have them.
Yeah, but that's not real life, though. Because you
Yeah, it is because
No,
when you
I'm
damage
slow.
something, you pay for it. If you get sued,
you go to
got-
jail. That's what happens.
But that's but the thing is that's
you're giving
more
you're giving
real
kids
life.
passes
Yeah.
right now.
And
Y'all giving them passes, and life don't give them fucking passes. When they get out of high school, either in high school, you don't get fucking passes.
I mean,
They got to pass by not walking. I wish they'd have told me I couldn't walk instead of fucking going to jail. This shit goes on your record. And they can't walk, and we're crying about that. They're gonna go to college and waste time and get put in debt, and we're crying about that.
But Big Mama want to clap and see me walk across that damn stage.
Fuck Big Mama with that goddamn bad collard greens and shit. She been feeding your ass.
Damn. So, you know what? If I had the money, like Robert Smith, I'd have a graduation for all 140 of y'all. We have our own goddamn graduations with cupcakes and silly string, and John could teach y'all how to spray
How to
paint,
tag, yeah.
how to tag properly. That's
John
what
Real.
you know. What? That's what I do with my damn money.
With your
I think again that they need to have evidence for each 140 students to show.
You think they're using the text messages, that group chat? As a,
Maybe, but I highly doubt there's 140 students in a group chat. That's crazy.
know.
It
And how do they
doesn't make
organize?
sense.
How do they organize that? Like there had to be. Here's my thing. You can't get 140 teenagers to do one thing.
This shows good unity, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, y'all unified. I mean, y'all could have started a business together. Y'all could have had a lemonade stand. Y'all could have did whatever. But no,
Them
y'all
college
got.
students didn't even do that shit.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. If they are telling folks that weren't even in school that they can't walk, that means administrators must have been just walking the hallways, and if they saw you, it's like, yo, you ain't walking. You ain't walking. Like if you had any involvement or knew anybody or somebody dropped your name, that's like, how do you, like, you're right. How do they?
They don't know.
How do they enforce that?
Nah,
They
they,
don't
didn't
know.
do that.
They don't know.
wouldn't. They said it would.
The good thing is for the parents in the audience, it will be a very short graduation.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah, because some graduations are damn long. But you know what? What's gonna stop? Here's the thing. What's gonna stop 140 graduating seniors
For crashing.
for crashing? Hey, if y'all about that life, y'all would have went into that graduation and say, "Hey, what are you gonna do?
I
Arrest?
knew you were gonna say that, bro.
Hey, are you gonna arrest 140 students
Yes.
as they walk into? Do you know how that will go? If y'all want to go viral, listen, y'all. Listen,
Shit, you
what y'all
giving
need to
them bad
do.
Ideas,
Hey,
boy.
inciting violence is a fucking crime.
Hey man, you know
can
what?
slap the handcuffs
I
on
know exactly who the people that will bail you out. You got 400 Morehouse men that got their student loans paid off. They got bail money. So what kind of high school students holler at those Morehouse men, and maybe they could get the bail money for you. Oh, but that's us this week. Social media, Soapbox Podcast with 2X. Where can they find you, Robin the Heart?
You can find me on IG at Robin the Heart. That's the THE, Robin the Heart.
The Carter, where can they find you?
IG, Damian the Carter.
John Boy Fresh.
John Boy Fresh 80 on IG.
Hey, so what's the moral of the story, guys? Before we get out of here,
Oh,
what are we going? What is our message to the youth?
Okay. Find a rich person to pay your student loans. You know? That's the first moral.
John was like, John, you trying to get him into prostitution? Find yourself a sugar daddy that will pay your way. Robin, what's the moral of the story?
Make sure that your book bag full of knives and guns doesn't look too suspicious. Make it like a cute book bag so nobody thinks anything of it.
I honestly thought you were gonna be like, yo, make sure that your mama and your daddy is black enough, because clearly.
Oh yeah, I forgot that I'm not black today. I'm sorry. That's what yes. Make sure that you're black enough for Damon.
Damon doing racial checks.
If your mama don't come to school and straighten all the goddamn kids, you ain't black enough.
But you don't know. You don't know how her
My mom's white and she would still do that damn thing. So
Nobody gonna take her serious though.
You don't think so?
yeah, you don't know my mom.
Man, a white lady come in there and start telling us what to do.
You don't know my
Shut
mama.
your ass up.
Yeah, right.
do not
White
know
folks
my
coming.
mom.
You see white lady coming in like, excuse me, ma'am. Does your mom do the ma'am?
My mom was like the cool mom. Like everybody knew my mom. Like they love my mom. People would always say your mom's not white. They would really say that your mom's not white.
Saying that trying to be cool, man.
She will. I'm telling you, she will ring bells, send emails.
All that.
She'll shut
And
it.
she'll write a letter.
She'll sit down and be like, listen, I know my daughter had a blade in her mouth, but that is not excuse to suspend her, okay? What's the moral of the story, Damon?
Oh man, make sure your mama come there and swing on the kids, man.
Make sure your mama about that life. Hey, that's us at the Soapbox Podcast. Did I give my moral of the story?
No, yeah, brother.
Oh, what is my moral of the story? Hey, be ready at all times for life, for kids, for threats. Just be ready, because the world ain't all peaches and cream, and pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Be ready and pay it forward.
Yeah,
all in one.
Yes, and Robert Smith is my daddy. We need a biological. We need a paternity paternity test. I want some of that $5 billion.
Wow.
Now we good. Hey, holla! We are the Soapbox Podcast.
Soapbox.
Peace.
He is black, so he
He
can be your
breezy.
dad. Since you're black.